Si Angel Art ne remporte pas...
Chaque semaine, dans le Screen Parfait, un réalisateur décrypte pour nous son dernier film, mais aujourd'hui, ce n'est pas d'un film dont nous allons parler, c'est d'une carrière entière, celle de Sir Alan Parker, le cinéaste qui nous a offert Les Commitments, Fame, Midnight Express ou encore Evita. Celui qui a fait tourner Robert De Niro, William Dafoe, Kate Winslet ou encore Madonna revient pour nous sur plus de 30 ans de cinéma, de l'Angleterre qu'il a vu grandir à Hollywood qu'il a accueilli.
Someone asked me the question, why do you make so many different kinds of films? And I said, because I can.
À 71 ans, l'éclectique Alan Parker a consacré 30 années de sa vie au cinéma. Le réalisateur anglais s'est imposé en formidable conteur tout en conservant un esprit contestataire, bouleversant ainsi le Festival de Cannes avec Midnight Express en 1978 ou mettant l'Amérique face aux aspects les plus sombres de son histoire. Son cinéma voit éclore des comédiens à l'aube de leur carrière, de Nicolas Cage à Mickey Rourke, et les a parfois poussés à explorer des territoires inconnus, à l'image d'un Antonio Banderas chantant aux côtés de Madonna dans Evita. La musique est d'ailleurs un élément central dans sa filmographie, de la plus expérimentale à la plus populaire, en passant par celle de l'âme, la soul. Son âme, Alan Parker l'a offerte au cinéma alors qu'il n'était encore qu'un enfant.
I grew up in London immediately after the war, the Second World War, where my local cinema was bombed. But we used to climb over the wall, and the seats were still there in the cinema, which would bomb, but the screen wasn't there. So we used to sit in the seats and pretend that the film was there. So that was my first experience of cinema, was imagining your own film, which I did when I was really very, very small. And then, you know, I loved cinema as a kid. I was never really a student of cinema in the way that some people are. You know, I came to that much later, in my early 20s, you know, the whole cinematheque approach to cinema. Up to that point, I was just a regular audience from a working class background and who loved films, you know.
Amoureux des films, Alan Parker l'est aussi des acteurs auxquels il a toujours offert une direction sur mesure.
You had us scared to death, man.
Don't you call me man, boy.
Did it ever occur to them they're going to end up dead?
No single actor is the same as another actor. They each one, you're a different director, you're a different person. I had Gene Hackman and Willem Dafoe in Mississippi Burning. Gene Hackman is the classic American actor in that he can turn on a sixpence, as they say. You know, he can do anything for you, but will minimize everything that he does. He makes everything simple. I once said to him, can you come into the room and can you pick this up and pick that up and then turn and then sit at the chair? And he said, no, I'm not picking anything up. He said, I don't do props. And that's because he brings everything down to be absolutely minimum, you know. Willem Dafoe comes from the theatre, so Willem will do anything that is necessary to make the scene because he's an ensemble type person. He'll even pick up the table and help the prop man because that's the kind of person he is. So in Birdie, Nicolas Cage had to take out all of his back teeth in order to feel as if his face was disfigured, and he had his face completely covered in bandages, which he kept on in the evenings when he went back to the hotel after shooting, because he wanted to forget what his face looked like. It's the kind of actor that he is. With Mickey Rourke, he was like, I was his friendly uncle, and he was the naughty boy, but we were friends. So then that's the way I got him to do what I wanted him to do. With other actors, it's incredibly different, you know. I mean, and you become a different person because every actor is an individual, and every actor comes to their craft from a different perspective. And I think you have to treat each one with care, and particularly if you're doing emotional scenes, particularly with young actors, where you feel where it ceases to be a charade. It ceases to be make-believe, which is what acting is. Some actors can they can make the tear stop there. Other actors can't do it unless they really, really feel some horrible thing in their own lives that will recreate that kind of moment. And then sometimes when I've pushed actors to go further and further and further to get to a place where I want for my film, you suddenly think, well, this is, you know, I've got to stop. This is an illusion. It's not meant to hurt people. And sometimes you get close, particularly with people's emotions. The thing about casting is that, you know, if you just go to the usual places and the usual actors, you won't find something special, and you're always hoping that someone different is going to come in. And then I always cast the extras because for two reasons, really. One is that amongst the extras, if you're casting hundreds, you know, looking at, and I do it very fast, very quickly. I can read very fast a simple little scene with hundreds of actors, and then out of that, you can sometimes find someone really special to play some of the smaller parts. And those that don't make it to those smaller parts, you then have a wonderful, rich, very carefully chosen extras. Because if in certain scenes, if you're filming with multiple cameras, for instance, and on long lenses, you might pick someone out, and you don't want them to be not good, you know? I want them to be how I see, you know, from a characterful point of view. So it's just a matter of being thorough, really, more than anything else.
Alan Parker est donc un réalisateur méticuleux, autant dans ses méthodes de casting que dans l'étude des sujets qu'il traite dans ses films. Pendant toute sa carrière, il sera allé à l'encontre du conseil que l'on donne aux jeunes artistes, toujours écrire sur ce qu'ils connaissent.
If I talk to filmmakers, young, you know, at film schools, which I've done a lot, I say the same thing, write about what you know. And then they remind me that I've always written about what I didn't know. And it's part of that. I did it because it was, you know, first of all, I was a British filmmaker making films in America. And I didn't, you know, I made Birdie in Philadelphia, for instance. I have no knowledge of Philadelphia. On the other hand, it was not that different to the working class area that I grew up in, North London. And so you bring those universal truths to everything that you do. And but there is something exciting about you going on that journey that the audience is going to go on as well, and you discovering it in the same way that they will.
Aujourd'hui, Alan Parker ne réalise plus. Son dernier film, c'était il y a 12 ans.
I've had such a wonderful life doing the films that I did. You know, I started when I was 22. And, you know, you get to a point where you think, well, I don't want to work a 6-day week and a 12-hour day. And I don't want to live in a Holiday Inn hotel in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi, away from home and away from family. It's not, you get to a point in your life where it ceases to be attractive. You know, I lived and breathed film for so many years, but then I suddenly realised that isn't all my life is. Life can be other things and other interests. And that's the point I am in my life now.
Alan Parker, c'est 14 films qui ont marqué à jamais l'histoire du cinéma.